Hi everybody, this is Craig Tanner for The Mindful Eye and the photo of the week on the Daily Critique. This is a week in the month where we feature on the photo of the week an image that was submitted for one of our community assignments. So one of the things that I want to say right away is we'd really love to have you, number one, join us in the community section of the Mindful Eye website, and a really great way to participate there is to take on an assignment. And this beautiful image was submitted by Alexandra, who's an intermediate photographer from Atlanta, Georgia. This is a shot that Alexandra made for assignment number 10, and the assignment was to work with your favorite color as a concept. And not very hard to guess here that Alexandra's favorite color is blue. In the backstory, she says, "I love blue. My living room is decorated with blue colors. I visited the Monastery of the Holy Spirit in Conyers, Georgia, and was attracted by the blue stained glass windows and the light coming through them." She said, "I wondered if it was possible to capture that light." She said it turned out that the photos came out a lot more blue than the way it looked to her eye. And she checked photos on the monastery website, and most of them have a real strong blue cast. And she goes on to say that she shot this with a Canon XSI 17-55 zoom lens at 17 millimeters on the crop body that turns out to be around 28 millimeters, semi-wide, and at f8. And on the tripod, exposed the file for 0.8 of a second. The blue here is really beautiful, but a big part of what's making this image very powerful for me is the yellow-orange. And so this real powerful color complementary pair, blue and orange. It's one of the more dominant complementary color pairs in nature. Because this quality of light is something on a clear day that we see just about every day. Near the end of the day, the sun starts to, as it gets caught up in the atmosphere, turn very warm, and then you have the blue reflected from the rest of the sky. And so this is a color pair that has an enormous effect on us psychologically. It's a really powerful concept, too, in architecture to play blue and orange off of each other. You'll see this over and over again in interiors. A lot of times you'll see this at a twilight interior where you get a real strong sense of orange in the interior and blue in the windows. It's kind of a fun reversal of that in this shot. But one thing that's true about this yellow-orange is it really has a powerful pull on us. We don't just have the idea of color theory, like color opposites driving the illusion of depth in the image. We also have emotional archetypes that come with colors, and one of the powerful things about yellow-orange is psychologically it just reminds us of the warmth of a fire or of a candle. It makes us think about a space so much of the time psychologically that's warm, that's safe, and so very, very powerful, both from a psychological depth standpoint and an image design standpoint. Just this space shape and the color of it is such a strong feeling of being able to move through the space. I love Alexandra's framing here. I think a really beautiful job of, in a symmetrical way, because there's a lot of symmetry within the shot, but there's a really beautiful feeling of sort of symmetry in terms of the amount of the floor and the amount of the ceiling. Just this real simple kind of three-part design with the payoff at the end, and I really enjoy that. It's really fun for me too how the reflections are playing out here and how this reflection kind of comes in between the windows here and breaks up this negative space. Love the vertical framing to come up and get the repetition of the archways. Great exposure here. I don't know how much work Alexandra had to do to this in Photoshop, but if she didn't do a lot, then she's done a really beautiful job with exposure and time of day. There's just a really beautiful sense of some detail still in the windows and the stained glass there. Subtle detail in the shadow, but getting to a pure black point in a couple of places in this image. And a really beautiful subtle movement of color across these archways. I love the way not only the quantity of light changes and the contrast changes, but the color of the light changes. Something else that would be really cool in a big print, maybe kind of hard to see in the video. This icon, this archetype, is such a powerful archetype, and the cross repeats down here at the end of the image, and that's really powerful. You know, in a perfect world, I wish we could just come in and square this side up. This side looks pretty square. Maybe just playing around with the edges here. But I think Alexandra, considering she's just working with a regular lens, no tilt shift lens or anything here, has done a really good job of squaring this up in camera, because I don't think a lot of post-processing, according to the backstory, has been done here. One of the things that a shot like this makes me think about, because it makes me think of my favorite architectural photographer of all time, Peter Aaron, and Peter Aaron was very famous in these big interior shots of his, and even a few very well known in the lexicon of architectural photography exterior shots. He was very famous for putting a figure sort of back in the shot somewhere to give it scale and to just kind of give it a sense of life. In a Peter Aaron shot, there may be a person that's slightly blurred, just moving through the space, something like that. And this space does make me think about that, sort of an idea along that lines. Just want to say a huge thank you to Alexandra for participating in the community section of the site. I'd like to invite you one more time to be a part of our community, and just want to say a big thank you to all the people that participate there. You know, the thing about it is, when you do something like that, you might be amazed, because it's the internet, and I've learned this in a very direct way over the course of the last 4 years. You just might be amazed how just sharing one of your pictures might give somebody else the courage to be a photographer. Might change their whole life. If all you ever did was just put one picture online, somebody might see that. It might be a moment for them where they're moved by the beauty of it, or just by your courage of participating, and it's the last push they need, or the last little bit of inspiration that they need. I know that might sound over dramatic, but I've seen that happen in my own teaching. And so I just really encourage you to let go of your fear and understand that, you know, I know it's scary to share your work, but if you sort of put it in the context of thinking about how it could be an incredible service for somebody else that might be scared just like you, you know, a real powerful concept. And I want to say a personal thank you to friends of mine that have helped me get over my fear of playing my music out. Big fear of mine, and I've been working through that in the last few months, and it's really made a big difference in my life. So big thank you to everybody that supports Mindful Eye in any way, even if you just come and download content. Just really grateful for you being here. Hope you have a great weekend. Hope to see you again real soon on the Mindful Eye.